Hi, I'm Jennifer with the Pioneer Library System. Welcome to 3D printing with IO Blocks and Tinkercad. Our IO blocks just came in and I'm super excited to work with them. I ordered mine from Amazon, but you can get them almost anywhere like Target or Walmart. IO Blocks are GuideCraft's friction-fit building system influenced by virtual world design elements. There are 11 unique shapes, and while playing with the toys, children become familiar with many concepts vital to understanding STEM, such as spatial and number sense, structure, and balance. These characteristics make IO Blocks an ideal model for introducing children to 3D digital design.
On your computer, go to guidecraft.com/makerspace. Here we're going to find our virtual IO block designs. This space has a lot of really cool resources for kids, parents, and educators. You can even download complete lesson plans centered around many cool things in STEM. Right now, we're going to download our IO block pieces. Click right here, and there are all of your designs that were in the bucket. These are the virtual equivalent to the actual physical blocks that we held earlier. I'm going to create a file on my desktop to keep these designs in, so they'll be easy to find. I'm going to rename my file something easy that I can remember, such as IO Blocks 1. Now I'm going to come over here and select all of the files that I just downloaded, and I'm going to click on them and drag them into my desktop file. This way I know exactly where to find them. You can click on them and see them in their virtual space. This is the block H, and this is an example of the Y. You can see that it's upside down. This just makes it easier to 3D print. Now let's head over to tinkercad.com. If you already have an account, go ahead and sign in. If not, make sure you get your parents' permission and create your own account by following step-by-step instructions. Before we get started, let's go ahead and come up to the Learn tab at the right-hand corner of your screen. Here we're going to find some tutorials that will help you design your 3D object. You're going to need to know how to rotate things when you design with your IO blocks, so let's start with the Rotate It tutorial. On the left-hand part of your screen, you'll find step-by-step instructions for each thing you'll need to do. We're going to start with clicking on the red box and finding the curved arrows. I'm going to rotate my work plane by right-clicking and holding and pulling my mouse around. I'm going to click on those rounded arrows and rotate my box. Now I need an overhead view. Doing the same thing, click on the arrows and rotate your box. Right-click and hold in order to rotate that work plane. And now we need a side view for the last box. Click and rotate. It's that easy. I'm going to come down here to make sure I followed all of my instructions and click Next. You even get a great celebration when you're all done. Now we're ready to import our virtual IO blocks. Click Import. We're going to pull that across and find the shape that we want from the files that we downloaded. Click on that and pull it into the box and click Import. Find your next shape. Click and drag it into the box and click Import one more time. I've got two different H's now. One is rounded and one is a block shape. I'm going to pull those apart so you can see them a little bit better. Import one last shape. This one's going to be the eye. Left click and drag it into the box and click Import. I'm going to make that screen a little bit bigger so you can see everything. My eye appeared inside my rounded H, so I'm going to separate those. I need a few more rounded H's. So I'm going to select that shape and click Control Copy or Control C on your keyboard and Control V to paste. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. I need another eye, select it, Control C to copy, and Control V to paste. I have all 6 shapes that I need. I'm going to start with rotating the letter H, that block H. I'm going to click on it and rotate it 90 degrees. You can see that it's floating a little bit above the work plane. That's okay. I'm going to do the same thing to one of my eyes. Uh-oh, made a mistake. Control Z is your friend. That's going to undo that mistake. I'm going to left click it and I'm going to put it right into the notch of the H. Right click and drag my work plane so I can kind of check and see if that's in the right position. Take your time. This takes a little bit practice. It can be a little bit fidgety and fiddly, but that's okay. We're having fun. You can always Control Z and fix that mistake. Do the same thing. Rotate that eye 90 degrees. Uh-oh, I did it again. Control Z time. I'm going to pull it into that notch just like I did before. Now I have an eye on both sides of my H. I'm going to rotate that around and see if I like that position. I think I do. I'm going to take my rounded H now and I'm going to pull it to the front. Make that eye pass right through it. I'm going to check that position. I can see that my block H and my eyes are just a little too low. So I'm going to select all 3 shapes and click Group. Now instead of 3 shapes, I have 1 complete shape. It moves as a whole now. Click on the little cone at the top to pull it up a little bit higher, and now I'm going to move that rounded H back into position. Rotate my screen, my work plane, so I can see it from the front, and try to position that eye part right into the notch of the rounded H. Move that back. Now you can see my rounded H went below my work plane. That's a no-no. I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to take my cone and pull it above the work plane now. That's much better. Do the same thing for that unit. Pull it a little bit higher by clicking on the cone. Make sure it's sitting right in the notch of that H. Take as much time as you need to do this. Again, it can be a little bit fiddly, but you've got all the time in the world to play with this. Have fun with it while you go. I'm going to do the same thing with the rounded H at the back. The block H and the eye should be at the right level now, so this part's a little bit easier. Now you can see we've got a body, front legs, and back legs. I'm going to take that last rounded H and I'm going to form a head. Is it starting to look like something to you now? Kind of looks like a dog or maybe a cat to me. I'm going to rotate my screen and make sure everything looks good. I can always fix it if I need to. Fantastic. I see a gap there in my back leg, so I'm going to pull that back part a little closer to that rounded part and the H part there to make one nice fitting unit. We want everything to touch just like it would in real life. I'm going to select the whole design and click Group, and now I have one whole design that will move as a whole now. The separate parts won't move by themselves. I can move that around as one design. Now it's time to export your design. Click on Export. You're going to choose STL file. There it is in its virtual space. Check your downloads. I named my file IO Blocks Dog before I exported it. Now I'm going to email the MakerMobile team. Click on my email. Email us at makermobile@pioneerlibrarysystem.org. I'm going to attach that file. Find my downloads and my IO Blocks Dog. And again, this is an STL file. You can send us a short message. If you don't want to do an IO Blocks Dog, you can do anything with your IO Blocks, and we'll be happy to print it for you for free. We're excited to see what kind of designs you come up with. Give us a subject so we know that it's IO Blocks, and we'll be sure to get started on that right away and send it to the library of your choice. Thank you for joining me today. Your IO Blocks 3D printed model will be ready in 5 to 7 days at the Pioneer Library System branch of your choice. We'll send you an email when it's ready. Have fun designing, and I'll see you next time.